Buying your first home is probably one of the most exciting things you'll ever do. But if we're being real, it can also feel extremely overwhelming. You start hearing words like pre-approval, due diligence, earnest money, closing costs, appraisals, inspections, and suddenly you're wondering, am I even ready to buy a house? Hi everybody, my name is Aliana Fastering and I'm a real estate agent here located in Monroe, Georgia. I also service the Metro Atlanta area. Today I'm going to be talking about the home buying process, first time home buyers. So yeah, feel free to like, subscribe, and let's get started with the video. Step 1, figure out if you're actually ready. So the first step is not to actually be looking at houses. I know everyone wants to jump straight on Zillow and start saving homes, but before you actually fall in love with the house, you want to understand where you actually stand. A few things you want to think about. Your income. Is it consistent? Your monthly expenses. What payment would you actually feel comfortable making with the expenses that you're having? Your credit score. How much money you have saved. Now, one misconception I hear all the time is, I need 20% down to buy a house, and that's actually not always true. There are different loan options where qualified buyers can put much less down. For example, some buyers use FHA loans, conventional loans, with lower down payments, VA loans if they qualify, and there can even be down payment assistance programs available. This is exactly why talking to a lender early is important, because you might be closer to buying a home than you think. And the opposite can happen too. Maybe you technically qualify for a certain amount, but that doesn't mean that the monthly payment actually fits your lifestyle. Step 2, get pre-approved. After you decide you want to seriously start looking, the next step is getting pre-approved. A pre-approval is basically a lender looking at your finances and saying, based on what I see, this is the price range you should be shopping in. They're usually gonna look at things like your income, your credit, your debit, employment history, and your overall financial picture. This step matters for two main big reasons. Number 1, you don't want to waste your time looking at homes that aren't realistic for your budget. And number 2, when you find a house you love, most sellers are gonna wanna see that pre-approval letter with your offer. Imagine finding your dream house, waiting, and then a few days later, by the time you're ready, another buyer already has it under contract because you weren't pre-approved. That's why getting pre-approved, it gives you a huge advantage, especially when going with a real estate agent. You are gonna have a lot of real estate agents asking you, hey, have you been pre-approved? Step 3, find your real estate agent. So once you have an idea of what your budget is, this is when you wanna have a real estate agent helping you. A buyer's agent helps you with way more than just opening doors. They help you understand the neighborhoods, comparable homes, look at a pricing, negotiate, write your offer, coordinate deadlines, and help you avoid mistakes throughout the entire process. Especially as a first-time home buyer, there are so many little details you probably won't notice unless you work in real estate every day. Things like, how long has the home been sitting? Is it priced correctly? What should we ask for in our negotiations? Are there things in the listing that are red flags? Are there things wrong with the home that are red flags? So having somebody to guide you through those decisions makes a huge difference. I always recommend people do use a real estate agent because they're gonna catch things that you might not be catching, and something to you that might just look like, okay, there's just a little bit of a crack there. Step 4, start touring homes. Now comes everybody's favorite part, actually seeing the houses. But when you start touring homes, my biggest piece of advice is to not only focus on the pretty things like the staging, the furniture, decorations, paint colors. Those are all things that can distract you, but I would pay attention to the things you can't easily change. You want to pay attention to the location. You want to pay attention to the neighborhood, the layout, the commute, the size of the rooms, different amenities that you might want, even the yard, acreage, of course. A lot of cosmetic things can be changed over time. All those things cannot be changed over time. And also before touring a home, you're gonna wanna make a list of your must-haves, your definite I don't want, and then also just your wants as well. And again, no house is perfect, but having the priorities is gonna make the decision for sure easier. Step 5, making an offer. Once you find a home, it's gonna be time to make an offer. So your agent is gonna help you look at the comparable homes, basically similar houses nearby that have recently been sold, to help you decide what makes sense for that house. Your offer is more than just the purchase price. It can include things like the closing data, your due diligence period, earnest money, and anything you're asking from the seller, and even some contingencies. Here in Georgia, one thing the buyers should understand is the due diligence period. The due diligence period is the period after the buyer goes under contract. It's around 5 to 14 days so that they can get all their inspections done, and if those inspections don't check out, they can still kind of back out of the contract. And obviously, if they do check out, then everything should be good. Step 6, inspections, appraisals, and under contract. So once your offer gets accepted, you're officially under contract. This is where a lot happens actually behind the scenes. First, you'll typically schedule your home inspection. The inspectors kind of look through the property and they help identify possible issues that maybe your realtor isn't necessarily specialized, like air vent stuff, air conditioning, or even outside, or termites or something like that. And I always recommend buyers, the inspections is not about finding the perfect house, because every house is gonna have something. The goal is just to understand what you are buying, and so you know what you're getting yourself into. So around this time, your lender is also gonna be working on the loan process. There may be an appraisal where the lender wants to confirm the home's value, and you'll also be getting the documents together and moving closer towards closing. So the lender is basically, they're trying to not like lose money either, because the appraiser is gonna kind of appraise the house. If right now the seller wants $500,000, but the appraisal is only worth $400,000, the lender might only say, hey, I'm only gonna lend you $400,000 because the home isn't worth $500,000. So if you go bankrupt or whatever, then the lender, let's say, would get the house, let's just say for this circumstance, then the lender wouldn't even be getting that $500,000 back. They would only be getting $400,000. That's why it's important to get an appraisal, and also to get those home inspections, again, so you know what you're getting yourself into. Step 7, closing day. Finally, we get to everybody's favorite day, of course, the closing day. So in Georgia, closings typically happen with a closing attorney. Before closing, you'll usually do a final walkthrough through the house, and this is your chance to make sure everything looks the way it should officially before signing. At closing, you're gonna review documents, you're gonna sign paperwork, and once everything is done, you get your keys, and congrats, you're officially a homeowner. So that's pretty much the first time home buying process. So it might seem a little bit intimidating at first, but when you have the right people around you that are gonna help you understand each step, it becomes so much easier, so much less stressful. But if you are thinking about buying or selling a home here in Georgia, whether that's now or sometime in the future, I'd love to be a resource for you, and I would love for you guys to reach out to me with any questions or anything that I can help you with. So yeah, just let me know. I will put my link here in the description. Feel free to click on that with any questions you might have. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Bye.